Hi, and welcome to another episode of Wine and Wisdom. I'm Thomas Le Hoang, and you're listening to the TL podcast, where knowledge is shared and no one takes themselves too seriously. Hi guys, how you doing?
Good afternoon, morning, whatever we are.
Boys,
What day is it?
men,
Men.
brothers, fellas, how are we?
That was a great fortnight. Last week we had to go to Wakefield Park, where this man had an experience.
How was it, mate?
Pop my cherry, mate. No longer a radical virgin.
Wow.
It was very good.
Did
Very
you
fast.
drive a car or did you just passenger?
Oh, no, we drove.
You drove it?
No, it was all day.
Wonderful.
Yeah, about 45 minutes of driving in, which doesn't sound like much, but when you're going around corners at 170 kilometres an hour, it's more than enough.
Yeah, when you think that a Formula One driver, they keep the race, I think, to no more than 2 hours, I think. And most of their races are under 1 hour and a half.
Yeah, right.
So to do 45 minutes in a car, that's a long time for someone who's done it first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's 100% 45 minutes of concentration all the time, 100% of the time, because you know when you're traveling, like you said, 170 kilometres around a corner, your concentration lapses for a second.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Oh, my concentration lapsed a couple of times when the sky started spinning and the gravel started flying.
Yeah, the mechanics were not happy around the end of the day. By the end of the day, all of them, like, you know, when they first started, everyone's cautious, and then I think you spun first lap.
No, first session, I was the only one that didn't spin, so I'm sitting there. But the first lap of the second stint, round and round. I spun. It was a big one. I was going quick. Most of them were coming off at the first corner, which was 80 kilometres. I was probably at about 140 by the time I started doing the merry-go-round, and the mechanics were not happy.
Wow.
But, no damage to the car.
So was it the same car? You all drove the same car?
There was two cars.
Okay.
We split into groups, and you had 15-minute lots. So first 15 minutes, everyone was a little bit of poo in the undercarriage, but and then everyone by the end thought they were a professional race car driver, and the spins got bigger and longer. And
Yeah, I can imagine.
but crazy. So I've driven the V8s before. Yeah, being in an open top and sitting on the ground, it's basically you're in an oversized go-kart. The forces and the speed, and they are not made for 130 kilo blokes. So my poor instructor was sitting in my lap. Had to deal with it. It was, but no, yeah, crazy.
So it was
day.
you and an instructor in the car as you were driving all the way through? And okay.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot to say. A few name calling at certain
I mean,
points.
he was trying to breathe. So what do you want him to say?
Poor bloke, mate. There was nothing of him, and I was all over him. Nath, if you're listening, well done, son. But yeah, not made for big fellas either. But made so much into it, so much goes into it. We still saw. Oh, I'm probably okay now, but saw a lot of physical exertion, which you probably underestimate a little bit.
Yeah.
Small track, like, it takes a minute to get around the track.
Oh, wow.
A few tight turns, and when you're throwing your weight around corners at that speed, you don't realise the work that your body's doing. But no, it was awesome, something I'll never forget.
Oh, good stuff.
I hope to. I love it though. I love speed's my go. I love it.
Yeah, awesome.
But what did you learn, though? What did you learn? I mean, were there lessons that could be used in life? Were there not lessons, but driving lessons for sure? But were there anything that we could actually be translated in civic duties?
It was interesting watching, because there was a group of us. How many people were driving, do you reckon, all up? 10,
There
12?
were 12.
It was interesting watching everyone's approach early on, the people who'd done it before versus the people who'd never done it. The nerves, the anxiety of people. Some people surprised me in how anxious they were about it. Some people surprised in how anxious they weren't about it. It's a big, I mean, I was fine until I saw, because I was first to go, but the instructors had to warm the cars up first, and I was feeling pretty confident about it and loving it until I saw how quick they were going down the straight, and I went, oh shit, this is real. Yeah,
wow.
But I think the lesson is you got to get in and give it a go. I think that's a lesson in life. Trusting the system is a big thing. There we had to trust the car. You had to be able to go fast. You had to understand that the cars are made to go fast and they weren't going to kill you. Very, very hard. I mean, we did spin, but very, very hard to have a massive wreck in those things because they're made for going as fast as possible.
Yeah, right.
So having the trust, there's a big lesson in trust there. The people who didn't trust it went slow. Sometimes the slower you went, the more you spun because the tyres got cold. Lesson in life, I'm still way too heavy and need to do a few more sit-ups. But the biggest thing was watching people's reactions when something went wrong, how they reacted afterwards. When the people spun, did they just go back to going quick, or did they, they lose their confidence because something hadn't gone right? And I think that's something that we all experience in everyday life. Sometimes we're too scared to fuck up, so we don't give things a go. And then when we do give things a go and then fuck up, how quickly do we recover, or do we get back on the horse? So.
Yeah.
And then some people try to give it a go, but it's too late. It's the end of the day. Which means that, in your career, even in your sales career, some people try to give it their best shot, but about the end of their career, they missed out on all of those 5-10 years when they should have taken the risk,
Yeah. So, sport's always transferred over into life. The lessons you learn in sport are directly transferable into life, which is why, one of our favourite books is Legacy by the All Blacks for that very reason. The racing was no different. You had to get in and give it a go and understand. Yeah, and you had to spin. Until you spun, you didn't know how fast you could go. Until you spun, you didn't know that you were going to be okay.
Where are the limits of the car?
Yeah, but you also didn't know whether you were going to come out of it breathing.
Oh, right, yes.
Everyone's worried about crashing the car and having an accident and hurting themselves or hurting the car.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I pushed the limit, went round and round and round and worked out, oh, shit, I'm still okay. So then the limit could continue to be being pushed. And it's the same in what we do. I mean, we talk about failing early or failing forward. We talk about with our new recruits wanting them to fuck up as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
That's why. Because until you've missed a listing, or until you've had a sale fall over, or until you've had someone rescind a listing, you don't know what it feels like, and then you don't understand that you're still going to live at the end of it. You don't understand that the most important question is what's the worst that can happen. Well, you won't know until the worst, in air quotes, happens. So make it happen in a hurry.
So just jumping in there, why don't we get a bottle of wine going?
Yeah, I think we're getting thirsty. What is it? This is one wisdom or just wisdom now?
We already know I'm going to lose because I've bought a white. Now the boys have bought red. Let's get that out of the way first. I don't care. Instead of competing with you, I've just decided to go for what I enjoy and fuck the rest.
What's that, whinging?
No. I'll tell you what, though, I've been on a bit of
in terms of car racing, he's the one telling us that he's going to crash before he even hop in the car.
Well, no, my excuse was already made up that I was fat. So when I thought I might lose, I'm like, yeah, but I weigh 30 kilos.
It is true that for Cam, the first time getting into the car was tougher than driving.
It was an interesting social experiment. So I've got a bit of a fetish at the moment for French whites. Ever since we bought that one in a few weeks ago, which I was ICAC still investigating how I lost.
Here we go again.
I've had a few French wines since then, and I'm yet to have a bad one. So I've gone French again. This one's from Burgundy, and this is it's called a Burgundy Blanc, which is basically French for Chardonnay. 2015, it's rated in the top 3% of all wines in the world.
Wow.
Can pick up a bottle for $35 from Dan's. I believe I've had this one before, but I believe I was 5 or 6 bottles deep when I tried it, so I can't remember for the life of me.
So you did pick this one up from Dan's, did you?
It is another Dan's special, yeah. I'm loving it. I don't go anywhere else in Dan's now other than the back wall where it's got all the different countries and all the different regions. Sometimes people are scared of the back wall because there's one section there where everything's over $400. That's not always the case, but there's a few different whites from this region all next to each other. They're all around the same price, so I'll be working my way through them for sure.
All right.
So this is the Marsannay, the Grand Vin de Bongye. Yes.
Yeah, you said
By
that
Louis
right.
Latour. Yeah, that was right for sure. We'll post the photo. Does it smell good?
All right, let's try this. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
It's nice.
Not bad. We were talking about temperature just before we hit record. Chris didn't understand that whites have to be had at a certain temperature.
I knew that had to be chilled, but you stated that you took it out of the fridge to let it warm up a little bit. You've said it was a little bit too cold.
Yeah, well, you can definitely say Chardonnays, for example, are best. As Thomas was saying, there's a debate between 12 and 14 degrees, but somewhere around there, they're at their best. You'll know sometimes you open a bottle of white and it tastes a bit acidic and it gives you that let it warm up for a bit, or hold the glass in both your hands,
Yep.
and after it's warmed up, the butter and all the
Okay.
smoothness starts to come out. So that's a little trick I learned. That's why the wine fridge is always set to 14 degrees, mate.
Uh-huh.
Reds are a bit different, but every wine has its optimal temperature. Pinot Noirs you can have cold.
Yeah, Pinots I always drink cold. Even my reds in summer I chill for a little bit because you don't want a bloody wine at 34 degrees, bloody room temperature in the middle of summer. So
No, it makes it. That's what I don't. I mean, obviously, I don't mind red wine, but the reason I enjoy white so much more is I find it much more refreshing.
in summer, yeah,
and
absolutely.
and
I
easy to
appreciate
drink in large quantities too. You can pump a couple of bottles of white into you without too many troubles, but red sometimes it gets a bit long in the tooth.
It's quite nice.
What do you think,
it's starting
mate?
to give. It's starting to give.
I've aired it out for a bit.
Yeah. I think we might have opened it a little bit too early, but that's all right.
In years, you reckon?
We'll wait. That's a nice one. It's going to be hard to...
It's not going to be hard to
It's
beat.
going to be
it's mine.
very hard to beat, mate.
Full
we
of
may
shit,
we
mate.
may be the one.
lulling you into false
No,
sense of
he's not.
security.
No, I'm off it, mate. I'm off it. I'm not. You've broken the trust. It can never return.
Anyway, how was real estate this last 2 weeks, boys?
Busy. Busy in our neck of the woods. Low stock levels are making prices ridiculous and buyers frantic. I was talking to someone earlier. Carryong's going through some sort of mini boom where 3 weeks ago you could get a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house for under $650,000, and now you're paying over $7 million just 3 weeks later.
Wow.
Consistently, it's
Is it because of, what's your next suburb? Is it Bowral? Not in Bowral.
no, I'm not talking
Barrera?
Barrera, no.
But is it because their prices have gone up? It's the affordability
It's
not
not.
there, so
It's
they've
not
come
quite
down,
the
or-
same hunger.
No.
It's actually got me. We usually follow in Carryong. We follow Sydney by usually 3 to 6 months. So I don't know what's going on in Bankstown, but Barrera seems a little bit slower. So I wonder if that's going to how long that till that transpires up our way. I mean, having said that, our last sale in Barrera took 2 days and we had 30 grips to the open home, but there's been a fair bit of stock sitting for quite a while in Barrera.
Yeah, we're seeing the stock sit on the market a little bit longer. Seeing a few more properties pass in at auction. Things are still getting sold though, and we're finding that just taking a little bit more work, dealing with more buyers, making sure you're doing like what you should be doing, following up all the buyers 2 or 3 times, make sure you're servicing your customers as normal. Bit challenging on stock at the moment, but we need to overcome that.
We always run on lean stock levels, but they're especially lean at the moment. But it's only because we're selling them. I mean, it's taken a while, I think, for the vendors to start trusting the market again since the initial lockdown. But I mean, my diary is full at the moment with appointments. There's people ringing up now, left, right, and centre, who are at least thinking about doing something. So
That's good.
The speech has been going. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, though, and that's the God's honest truth. I mean, I said to someone yesterday, normally I could sit here and tell you within a good guess what the next 3 months is going to hold, give or take. I said I couldn't tell you what's going to happen tomorrow.
No chance.
Today your house is worth 720. Tomorrow it could be 750 or 600. I've got no idea.
Exactly right, mate.
And I think that from an agent's point of view, people are appreciating the honesty, because there are a lot of people running around with that magical crystal ball. The market's going to crash or the market's not going to crash. I think both are stupid things to say at the moment. I'm saying I'm not seeing any indications of a crash. However, I didn't see any indications of a crash the first week of March, and the second week of March, everyone lost their job.
Absolutely.
So given what's still transpiring in the world,
And that's a big thing too. The amount of businesses that have come out recently, like global businesses that have come out recently, reporting major losses, major losses, and closing stores left, right, and centre. Not just Australia, worldwide, and some really big players out there losing money hand over fist.
Starting to see that one shift I have seen is that when the first lockdown happened, buyers went away for 5 weeks, but since Easter they came back.
Yeah.
And I put that down to the fact that most of the people affected by what was going on were sort of under 25 and not in a position to buy houses anyway. We're still having the same problems recruiting. We've still got very low applicants, but I've had 3 interviews in the last 3 days and everyone's been over 45.
Well, there you go.
And career people. So I'm starting to see a change in the demographic of people who have been heavily affected. I've had a guy who was made redundant in the mines.
Okay, this is my questions.
I've had a guy who's had his own business for 20 years. I've had a guy who's been in the same industry with the same company for 10 years and is their top performer, but they've treated everyone like shit through the COVID thing, and he's finally after 5 years of
Yeah.
poking and prodding. Looks like he's ready to make the jump onto something better. So I'm seeing a different demographic of
Yeah.
people looking for work. And
Yeah, that's good.
it's music to my ears because I've been longing for people who have got a bit of life experience behind them and a bit of more maturity behind them. The millennials, sorry millennials, but you're a bit tough at the moment with the entitlement and the expecting everything on a silver platter, and to actually sit down and talk to some people who know about the world.
It's refreshing.
It's been quite refreshing. So I'm excited.
We had a similar phone call just yesterday with someone who had older, in like mid-30s, again looking for a career change, but been in sales and so forth, and she wants to change things up a bit as well. And basically because of what's happening, things have slowed down for her, and we did deal with her previously on a sale that we did.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're coming out of the woodwork, and that so it's people are seeing the advantage of at the moment being able to, maybe this is the time to take that leap. They take that step and do something different in life, have that career-changing sort of time.
Well, the interesting thing is 2 of the 3 people that I'm talking about have got their certificates of registration.
They've already got them.
Already got them and been done. One did real estate 20 years ago. One's done real estate part-time on and off over the last 10 years. So with the other gentleman I was talking about, who's been umming and ahhing for 5 years. So it seems like the pain is finally getting enough for people to take the jump, even though they've been holding off because life's been good, in air quotes, something they've always wanted to do but haven't done it in the past. And I think we're going to talk a bit more about that as we go along, but why people don't take opportunities that are presented to them when they're presented, and sometimes it takes the pain being enough for them to actually...
Just going back to what you were saying earlier, 3 months ago, Matt Coleman, the chief executive for the CBA, he actually predicted that house prices were going to drop by 30% in the worst case scenario. And he's just revised it to about 10% now. That just tells you, mate, he knows jack shit, just like us, right? We just sitting here, everyone's making projection. There is only one certainty, is that you're alive and that somehow this is going to end. And is this going to end with you being successful, or is this going to be the end of you by the end of the pandemic? Are you sitting in a tunnel, in an underground kind of cave, waiting for things to be finished? Because all of these guys that are running huge organizations, so imagine Matt Coleman, right? He is this chief executive officer for the CBA. So this guy's got so much information around him. And still, as we said, 50% is real. 50% would be that he's wrong. This time he was wrong. Now he's revised it to 10%. I'm sure he's going to revise it again.
Well, he's still wrong because, as I said, in every area I've seen, the posters are at least holding. And as I said, up in the Central Coast areas, they jumped 10% in 3 weeks. So it's going to have to be a big fall from grace to end up negative 10 whenever he's saying we're going to be negative 10 by. So, yeah, I mean, that's the line. We've been telling sellers and buyers and everyone for that how long, don't believe what you read.
Yeah.
Open your eyes.
Yeah. Thomas, as you used to teach, it was the people on the front line are the real estate agents.
Yeah.
The people who see it first are the agents. So it takes the news, I don't know, what would you say, 3-4 weeks to filter what's actually happening?
And the other, I mean, the interesting part about it is, and maybe not that interesting, but the bank values are all stacking up.
Yeah.
So the bank's predicting a downturn in the market, but the people coming out to value houses on behalf of the banks, like I've seen some prices recently where I go, shit, I wouldn't spend that.
Yeah.
Right? They're valuing them up half time. They're not even coming out, just doing curbside. So they're back to lending money. It's all right for them to predict a 10% drop on one hand, but they're back to lending money. If that's how they really feel, they shouldn't be giving people these loans on these houses.
Are these people borrowing people with decent deposits? Because generally the banks will run on the level of risk that they...
A lot of 5% deposits getting around,
that's
mate, and they're all first-home buyers.
Okay, that's where I'm coming from. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I just had a first-home buyer spend $915,000 on a house.
That's,
in Carrion.
Well,
Mum and Dad must love him.
No, they've got good jobs, but if the same banks that are predicting a crash in the market are the same banks that are giving these people
$15,000 for a first home buyer, yeah.
His money.
So he's got his obviously he'd have a great deposit, savings, jobs, and so forth. He gets none of the benefits.
He had almost 10% saved.
Plus stamp duty, or he has to borrow?
He didn't qualify for any of the stamp duty.
So he's got to pay for his stamp duty. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. So he would have had to have his stamp duty.
It's probably into this house for $960,000.
Yeah. Wow.
So I don't. That's the oxymoron about what's going on.
Yeah.
We're getting. I mean, carry on for a lot of years was, especially when the banks have now been found to lend money to people who weren't supposed to be getting money, weren't even coming out. It had a green tick next to its name that if it's carry on, the price must be valid because that's just the way prices were going. And then when the Royal Commission happened, we saw one or two valuers every now and again, and now it's back to you don't see them. It's all curbside and loans approved. So, the difference between what they're saying in the headlines and what they're actually doing in real life is interesting.
Yeah, well, we're still getting a lot of ours of valuations are going through and getting booked and so forth. So very seldom do we see the curbside or desktop, whichever you want to call it, valuations. They usually are when you've got a 20% deposit. The bank's security there, so they're cool with that. So majority of the time, though, if there is a 5 or 10% loan, we're getting valuations done. Maybe it's more so with the banks see it. There's a higher risk in Sydney than the Central Coast.
But let's imagine that the bank's right. Okay, that's going to go down by 10%. That young dude that just bought for 900,000, when that property is going to go down to 820, well, as long as he's repaying, the bank's going to leave him alone.
Who cares?
And then if he waits for things to go back up again, there's no problem. This is a thing that people think of houses like it's shares. It's like as soon as it goes down, I have to dump. No, you're still living in the house.
Yeah.
And whether that house is worth 2 mil or it's worth 1 mil, really, do you care? You can wait and live life. This is the bit. People going to have to really stop. I think that insecurity has been showing in a lot of people with the first wave. When it was COVID, I mean, I know that even in this group, like someone called me on a freaking Sunday and freaking panicking all up and down. Hey, they're going to kill all of us. And
not any Sunday, the Sunday.
there was the Sunday, the bloody Sunday.
It was the Sunday.
It was a bloody one.
When those idiots came out and said, you're all shut down in 48 hours and didn't tell us anything else, I may have panicked.
It was you. Oh, I forgot.
A few phone calls, and one of them didn't help the heart rate, and the other one laughed at me. So,
is there anything you're outraged with at the moment? I just want to see if there's anything you need to get off your chest. Usually you're outraged about something, Cam. So
I don't care anymore. I'm along for the ride, mate. The outrage. I heard the New South Wales Labor government on the radio this morning telling everyone, pushing to make masks mandatory. I don't really have a feeling either way on that. I know our good mate, the Pooh, Vladimir, he's developed a vaccine.
That he's already...
And so Comrade Palaszczuk up there in Queensland will be stoked with that. The Communist Party is the one's going to save the world.
And he's bypassed phases 2 and 3 and straight into releasing a phase 4, which is released to the public.
Mate, even, everything we've got to be careful because we do drink during this podcast. I can't remember everything we've said, but most of what we said has come true. And if people think we're kidding ourselves and being wankers, so be it. But even friggin' New Zealand, who did the most perfect lockdown in history,
4 miraculous cases which they can't identify.
Which is now 12, and they've put the whole country back into lockdown again.
Oh well, I didn't know that.
So those people who said that you were a dickhead, well, now maybe they should look at themselves.
So it's almost laughable that everything we sprout off about, and they go, you're on a rant, and you're one of those conspiracy theories. It's all happened.
Yeah.
So now I'm actually chill about it because we actually have no control. As much as we've tried to have people have a little bit of common sense, that's not happening. We said that if you lock people down one time for no reason, good luck locking them down a second time. That's exactly what's happened in Victoria.
Yeah.
It will happen here if they try and shut everyone down again, and no one's going to go quietly.
The numbers in Victoria I was looking at this morning, they're quite frightening, the amount that has died in Victoria and the cases there.
Again, no, it's all in the old... There's been, I think there was a 30-year-old, but majority in the aged care, which is a crime unto itself,
Yeah.
I don't know where the liability falls with that when a worker goes to work sick and kills a bunch of people. That's got to be manslaughter or because you're not well.
Yeah.
So, no, mate, outrage zero.
Yeah, that's good, mate.
Outrage zero. Well, what's the point?
Yeah.
Morons are still going to be morons.
You're looking a little bit more chilled today. You're not as red as usual. If you're more of a pink colour, so
blood pressure tablets. I forgot. I didn't take them to the Hunter, so I'd been to the Hunter for the weekend too. So
did you?
Yeah, that might be something to do with my mood.
Oh, good, mate. That's good.
Bit disappointed in the wines though. I've got
really?
to say this time round there was nothing that I look at my wallet when I'm deciding how good the trip was. And last time we spent a few $1,000s in wines, and this time I think we bought one bottle, which was the G3 from Tulloch.
Yeah,
the G4.
Listen, there's a lot of wine. You just have to have a look. You know, it takes you. You can't just do that in one day.
No. Didn't we see, though, and maybe a little bit off topic, but it was interesting in a condensed environment like it is up there with so many different businesses running, the different approach that people have taken to the customer service around COVID. And we had some amazing hospitality and people that we'd offer jobs to in a heartbeat, and then we had some absolute rubbish.
Yeah.
And you think about why, and you go, well, obviously the leader of this business is not instilling fear in people, and they're not instilling fear then in the customers. And then you go to some places where they're that shit scared that if you don't sign in on this dot and wipe your hands right here and stand, mate, there was some Nazi-like approaches by a couple of them, and you think, what are their bosses telling them? You know, and
I have to say that the discovery of the day was young Spencer from Canada.
Yeah.
He works for Tulloch Wine. What a gem. If Tulloch doesn't understand, you have to hold on to comedians like this.
Oh, and shout out to Zara from Margan.
Hey?
Zara from
Zara
Margan.
from Margan was fantastic, but she was not in the wine tasting.
No.
She was more in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Those two were really highlights of the day, weren't they?
Yeah, no, amazing. But yeah, it was interesting to see the difference in mentalities. People obviously
And it's all about the leader. You know, I just finished the recruit training with some of these guys here. And you can tell, same story. It's a boring story. It's the same one every single time. They come in day one, scared, fearful. They don't know what to do. Their personality is subdued. They try to really fit the values of the room. And by day 3, they fluent. They do listing presentations like they seasoned warriors. They become themselves. And that's what it is. You have to really foster not fear in people, not insecurity in people, but you have to foster an environment where people see opportunity to shine.
Yeah,
and that's what that Zara, that's what that Spencer, have done. They have fostered that ability to just do great. Like for the moment, yes, okay, we're talking about maybe more restriction, more crap, like more mask and everything. And by the way, they only talk it. When you have a look at Gladys, what she's been trying to do over the last 2 weeks, we're going to put harder restriction. We're going to do this. And what she's doing is testing the water. And then she gets feedback when there's too many people who like rejecting it, especially people probably on the radio. They make a decision from that, right? And this is the bit that happens with the thing that's coming up here now. Are people going to be insecure, or are people going to see opportunities? But I'm talking probably about even employees, salespeople, people in our organization. Some will be looking at opportunities. Some will be looking for fear, insecurity. That's people.
It's instilled in us. I mean, generally people will go to the side of fear. But like you said, depending on the values within the environment that you're
Is it general, though? That's a big statement.
I think so. It's in our makeup. Generally, it's in our makeup for people to go on the fear side of things.
Well, there's two. There's fight or flight. So there's two sides to that coin. I know just as many people who will take every risk under the sun as I do people who won't take any.
Okay.
So do you think generally, it depends on everyone's makeup and the hidden players and all that stuff we talk about. Yep. There's a list a mile long why you go, why won't you just... I've had conversations with someone over many years about doing their own thing, and you just go, why won't you do it? But I've known just as many people who go, I've got no experience in this, but someone's offered the opportunity, so let's fucking do it. And what's the worst that can happen?
Yep.
So I don't know if it is general.
Okay.
If we throw that around and go, most people are fearful, it makes it okay to be fearful, I think. Which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but...
Let's analyze the guy that is feeling insecure. Let's have a look at an employee who right now is going through insecurity. What is it that would make them insecure, first of all? So you're talking about their nature. Some people are built to feel insecure. Some people are built to feel anxious.
Yep.
That's normal. That's part of it. So if your makeup is that you're an anxious person, well, it's probably going to color most of your life.
Right.
Let's go beyond that. What about the work environment? What is the work environment doing to get people to feel that way?
Good question. I'd say the first thing, it'd be the leader's response to what's happening at the moment.
Yeah. So
the leader's attitude, I heard it somewhere, the leader's attitude depicts the business's altitude. I think it was a Zig Ziglar quote. So if they're showing a little bit of frustrated or fear or whatever, that's going to bleed down in through to the team. I think that would be number one.
Yeah, well, fear is contagious. So it may be not even necessarily the leader. It is the leader because the leader is responsible for the energy in the office or the the feel in the office, but it's no different to a herd of deer smelling a hunter. Only one deer smells them, and they all run. So it's the same sort of
I
scenario.
think that your line is, it is your attitude,
That depicts
not your aptitude, that determines your altitude.
There you go.
How nice is that one? Beautiful line.
If you're going to quote stuff, mate, can you at least,
Yes.
or you got to preface
Just
it
keep
with
drinking your
on
Yeah,
wine.
what about you quoting the deers? Which deer did you hear it from?
Mate,
Oh dear.
I've watched enough David Attenborough.
or no idea.
Still no idea.
Still no fucking idea.
Still no idea. How good's this wine?
I think that this wine's going to be the winner.
It is a bloody good wine.
I think it's going to be a winner.
I'm not going to say it until I have the Annie's Lane though, because that Annie's Lane is a good drop. I know it.
Don't just say it, because if
No,
you
it's
lose
not.
it, we have to
It's
shout
stirring,
another
man.
good bottle.
No, so on the serious note, it doesn't quite last as long as the other white that we
Yeah.
But it's still quite structured.
It's a nice
Smooth.
white, very nice
I have
white.
to say, I
Cheers.
went to Muse restaurant on Saturday night, and Troy, he has a beautiful sommelier there, and I think she's about the same level almost as master sommelier. She's studying. I talked to her about your bottle, which is the Chantalouette from Hermitage, yeah? And as soon as I said it, she said, wow, that is a bucket list wine. And I...
He's going red.
No, but and the way that she said, actually, you know, you guys may have opened it too early. It should have stayed another 10, 20 years. So now it's your fault why you're lost.
I was going to say, he told me that story on the weekend, but he didn't add that in bit. He just said, bucket list wine, but still couldn't beat you two plebs. So funny that. Anyway, we're not going back there, mate. It's all right. You two compete. I'll just be a happy bystander and I'll enjoy my wine.
You have to follow the law of the jungle, mate. And we all decide. So we'll see how you go today.
My laws run at me.
So what is making someone feel insecure? I think that it's really, we spoke about it at the beginning of COVID. It's really how the leader speaks to people.
In the office environment, yeah. It's always, apart from your personal makeup, it then depends on all the people around you. And that doesn't have to be the leader at work. That can be the other person at home with you. If you've got
The boss.
Well, it depends who's the boss, but it doesn't even depend who's the boss. If you've got someone who's more prone to anxiety as a partner and you come home with this big
Yeah, that's
bold
a good point.
plans
Yep.
and this big idea, quite often you'll get shot down or the doubts will be put in your head because of their fears, not necessarily yours.
He's telling us quite a few things about his marriage.
No, not at all. Mate, look,
You don't have to blush.
No, I'm
She's
not even
here.
blushing, mate.
Oh, look, isn't he blushing? Come on,
the
tell him.
chances we've
that
taken,
red?
the chances we've taken as a family. The thing about my wife is
I was not talking about your wife.
no, but even we can go there because I'm a guy who's jumped off more cliffs and just flapped my wings like hell than
Yeah.
a lot of people I know.
Yeah.
Where I probably should be risk adverse, I'm just not because I figure what's the worst that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I've been poor. I've had trouble paying the bills. If the worst that happens is I get back there, so be it. My wife is a highly anxious person, and every time I go home with a huge idea, there's the voice of reason on the other side. But you know what? We still take the jump. It's okay to have a voice of reason, and it's okay to look at what could possibly go wrong, as long as you don't let that stop you.
Yeah.
And to my wife's credit, we've never let it stop us, ever.
Yeah.
So
There's people who have worked the last 25 years as a sales manager and have gathered a lot and have got a nice fortune behind them, right? When I sat down, actually you sat down with me with them, with that person, I could tell that thinking even the idea of opening something by himself, I could see the fear on his face. And so he insecurity for me too stemmed from the fact that you're telling yourself horror stories that you believe in. So this is the amazing thing. When you should really be treating yourself as your own best friend, what would you do to your best friend? Would you put your best friend down? Would you tell your best friend crap? Would you really make your best friend feel inferior every single time? And would you really entertain your best friend and allow them to just be an idiot because you don't want to stop the laugh, therefore you don't want to address their imperfection? If your best friend really is yourself, why would people entertain the ideas of insecurity? Why would that guy sit there and say to himself, oh, well, you know, I've got a good position. They are refurbishing the place and I still like to do my bike, and I've got my children who have got my time. So I don't want to lose all of that. I've got hundreds of $1,000s in the bank, but I don't even want to lose $1. These are the kind of guys that have got $100 today and are looking forward to the fact that they got 101 next week.
Yeah.
They won't take a chance. They will not go out there. And you know what? One of these days, going to sit there, they're going to be looking back at themselves and saying, I don't think I've been my own best friend. All I've done in life is put myself down. I won't name him, but he was a nice person. He was a nice dude. I really liked him. And I could see some of the traits that I used to have. This guy drove down to meet Cam and I with his wife in the car. His wife says, you got to do it. And he's still there doing the same shit he's doing, trying to get an extra $1.
Yeah.
And to me, that is living a life filled with insecurity. You know?
Is it? Do you think then? Obviously, the guy we're talking about, he had to work bloody hard to get what he had.
Yeah.
So, do you think back in the very beginning, the makeup is the same, or it can be dependent on what's in your wallet, for want of a better term? So, I take me for an example. I didn't have a lot. So for me, the risk of trying something new
Was not a lot.
Was not a lot.
Yeah.
Now,
So I think it's.
but that doesn't change.
I think it's a very big point of it. A very, very big part.
It
of
didn't change when we.
No, there's also something, man. You haven't got a lot still.
No.
But imagine yourself now with a few $1 million in the bank account, and you've got your children set up with private schooling and everything that they need. Your behavior may be different.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think it's always just the inbuilt, or can, regardless of how risk adverse you might be?
I think it's nail on the head sort of.
So do I sit
talk.
there and go, because when you start, you go, what's the worst that can happen? Well, not much. But if I've got a few $1 million in the bank and my kids are in private schools and I've got all that stuff, then all of a sudden what's the worst that can happen answers a lot different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I look at more people now. One of the guys I'm talking to at the moment, he's got title and he's got everything that comes along with title, but still lives in a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house and has no prospects of increasing that anywhere, and his insecurities are still stopping him. So
Yeah.
the worst case, and I said to him, the only question you got to ask yourself, mate, is what's the worst that can happen? And for him, like it was for me, there's actually very little, but won't make the jump. So that's more of a makeup thing.
Yeah, but maybe now you're going back to his makeup, like the vanity, the title. He's comfortable with this, And some people, they're comfortable with what they have in terms of title. They're not understanding, hold on, am I going to do this until I'm 65?
Yeah.
But not comfortable, but he's not comfortable because he complains about it all the time. He's been complaining since I got into real estate. This is a bloke who told me when I started real estate that I'd be broke in 3 months and I'd lose everything I had.
You were, and you
I was
need
broke
to
when I
give you a
started.
check.
Right? So he's been watching me the whole time. He's not comfortable because his mouth keeps opening about how uncomfortable he is. But he's got a badge that says manager and he's got a constant wage. It's fake comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't, because I'm wired differently. I try and get
Look,
1
I
plus
think-
1 to equal 2.
I think there's a few things that you've got to take into consideration. Number one is, what's behind the scenes? Is it just that person? Or is there others involved? And speaking frankly, Thomas asked me, he said to me, he goes, would you make the decisions you're making today if the family was involved? If you're by yourself, would I make the same decisions that I'm making today? No, I wouldn't. I would take a lot more risk if it was just me. If it was just me and it was only me that would be affected, my decisions would be totally different. But it's not just me. We have to see how it is. And I had actually never looked at it that way previously until you asked me a question, and a very straightforward one. So it is. There goes a lot behind the scenes to what people are going in their mind. What have they put in to get to where they are? So the gentleman that you're talking about is obviously, he doesn't have a lot, but he still complains and bitches and moans. For him, it's obviously an intrinsic fear of change maybe.
Yeah, no, it's all that.
And then you've got the other gentleman that you were speaking to who has everything, but has kids and private schools and money in the bank and homes and investment properties. His decision making will be based on all those factors and not just the change of scenery.
Yeah, but I still remember him though. He's a beautiful guy, and what he's gone through is his parent had migrated here when he was younger, and they went through a period of nothing. And that has been imprinted on him. And what I'm trying to say is Do you live a life where your past has imprinted on you and put handcuffs on you? Or do you live a life where you realize that your past is a past that is the wake, like Wayne Dyer says in his books, your past is nothing else but the wake that is going away at the back of your boat. So what do you do? Do you look at the wake behind your boat, or do you look at forward where you're going? You can't look at both.
There was, go on.
He has to stop at some stage and say, no, I am not my past.
Yeah.
I was my past. I am filled with my past, but I am also my future.
Looking into the future, though, and moving towards the future, you've got to carry those responsibilities into the future.
Yeah.
So making a decision with carrying those responsibilities.
But what about instead of, and I'll probably contradict myself, what about instead of asking what's the worst that could happen, you ask what's the best that could happen?
Absolutely, Ken. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Which is probably
So
wrong because, yes, I may have to go back to selling cars if real estate doesn't work out. But what if fucking real estate works out?
Yeah.
You do the figures, you do the sums, you do the everything. What if it works? Our mate that we sat down with Tia, what if that worked for him?
I have no doubt in my mind that the guy would make 10 times what he's done.
In his head, the worst.
But his head is his head.
Yeah.
Your most expensive piece of real estate is between your ears. It doesn't matter what I say. You the one who needs to weed away all that crap between your ears.
So how can I do that?
You can't really do that unless you become filthy rich and then show him. Like some of these people, there's two things. They need to see it for real. Some of these people need to feel the pain of what they have. The day that he's going to go to the bathroom and had enough because there's another three people like queuing for the bathroom, maybe he'll have enough. Maybe he'll go, do you know what? I don't have to live through my fears. I don't have to let my fears being my master. Then they will do something. Even the past few weeks, there's things that's happening in my life that are really challenging. Where in the past, I probably would have said, man, this is really hard and I'm nervous and I'm losing it. But I'm at peace with what's happening because instead of seeing it as a problem or an issue, I'm seeing it as an opportunity, a step to doing something else. It's imposed upon you. What do you do? And I say this to people all the time. Change does not happen when you read books. Change does not happen when you read books and take action in good times. Change happens when you read books and you apply it in stormy moments of your life.
Yeah.
That's when real change happens.
Yeah.
It feels like there's a lot of change in general happening at the moment.
I think it's been forced upon a lot of people.
I think there's a big change in real estate coming, or already happening.
Yeah.
I think, and obviously, as I alluded to before, with the type of interviews I'm having at the moment, there is a change out there in the world. I mean, we're talking about real deep-rooted stuff, but a lot of it can come back to just people's comfort zone, and the old life begins at the edge of your comfort zone, and you don't extend your comfort zone until you step outside it.
I don't know who did the
It's jumping in the car and doing 200 Ks around that corner and seeing if you live out the other side,
you stick to the road.
Someone
did a survey. I don't know who it was. They interviewed it was 200 dying people.
Yeah.
And one of the first things that the regrets was not taking enough risk.
Oh, absolutely.
It was not one of them said they wanted to spend more time in the office.
No.
But one of the first ones was not taking more risk in their life.
It's an interesting thing because I guarantee if you did a survey of everybody and asked who wants to have to work till they're 75, no one would say yes.
Yeah.
But
I do.
No, I want to work. You'll always work. No.
I want to work until I drop.
Right, but
because
you missed the
because
word.
I've learned a long time ago if your job is
You
doing
missed the
what
key
you
word.
love, then you never have to work for the rest of your life.
You missed the key word. Want
Okay.
to have to work until you're 75.
I didn't hear that word.
I
did
said,
you?
who wants to have to work until they're 75? None of us, right? Who would work till they're 75? I'd work till I'm 75. I'd
I
work.
work till I'm
You're always going to be doing something, but will it always be the same thing? I hope not. I hope I'm not selling houses till I'm 75.
Yeah.
So opportunity comes, you look at opportunity. These guys we're talking about, they don't want to be working until they're 75 or have to work till they're 75, but still won't. It's not enough for them to take that jump. It's an interesting.
So what is that line? You have to take the risk and you have to, step off first base in order to steal second base.
I never heard that one. Okay.
So and you're going to have to go out there and do this kind of stuff. Take that risk.
And if not now,
but then
when?
It tells us the next step. The next step to insecurity is who you hang around. You hang around people who are going to talk to you about just fear all day long, who are going to say to you, Have you sat down and thought about what would happen to your children all day long? Absolutely. You can't leave first base.
Business is not easy. You don't know what it takes. It costs so much.
No, and that's
the time we put in.
I missed a point. We're closing in on 1 year here, brother. I got a reminder the other day. We've nearly done 12 months of this.
Of what?
This
Of
podcast.
drinking?
No, this podcast.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
wow.
I just got a reminder to renew that web address I bought, and I reckon we started a week later, so I reckon next week will be our 1 year anniversary. But we said in the very first one, if nothing else through this, we can try and provide some association for people who might not have it at
Listen,
home.
I have said
because
it.
it's top of yours and top of mine, and that's what I was talking. It's not always about who's in the office.
No.
You spend more time sometimes with the people at home. So and the interesting thing about the example you used is that guy's wife was telling him to do it. She thinks I should do it. She thinks I'm mad if I don't do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Still not doing it. Braver man than me.
No. But that's an amazing thing. That is a self-effacing wife. She wants to support her husband, but she let him decide. The problem is that he is being run by all the software of seeing his parents struggle. And that software is ruling his life.
And his wife's belief isn't overcoming it. Like it's interesting.
Mate, come on,
Like
man.
if my wife had sat there and said, no, don't, no, you can't, no, you won't, there would have been some toing and froing. But I guess when you take into account the kids and the pressure that puts on you as a man and as a provider and everything else, I probably wouldn't be sitting here if that had been the conversation. To have her back me, whether behind closed doors she backed me or not, because I know she's an anxious person, so she's probably had a few moments where she's gone, oh, fuck, but she backed it. So to have someone backing you like that and then still not
amazing,
back yourself,
mate.
but
It's
then
amazing.
not back yourself,
Yeah, I know.
if the person you've married, the
can't
love of your life, the mother of your children has backed you and pushed you and backed you and pushed you and given you opened all the doors for you and your software still can't.
Yeah, but knowing you, I've known you for a while now. We're really good mates, and I think that through these kind of podcasts, we've become even better mates, and we've grown to a next level, which I see. I mean, you become who you hang around. So hanging around you, I have not grown so much, but you have grown tremendously. However, that is in bracket kind of shit.
You've learned some new words.
The one thing I have to say that knowing you now, your wife is a saint. If there's anything, the poor woman, she was born on a cross, and I think she's gonna go to heaven with that cross.
Modern age Joan of Arc.
Mate, you've learned some new words. That's all I've educated
But I have
you.
to also tell you that those new words actually open doors to shit you don't want to know. They say that the more vocabulary you have, the more intelligent, and actually it increases your creativity. Cam's words, I have to say, have been closing a lot of my creativity.
I think it's hilarious.
Oh, sorry, mate.
No, but we're talking about the association, how hard it can be if you don't have the support at home. If you do have the support at home, then the only barrier is yourself.
Yeah. Before we go any further, where's the second wine? Man?
There.
I think it's going to be yours or
You
mine.
want to do mine or we want to do yours?
Let's take a gamble. We'll do mine. All right.
Good gamble.
So, Annie's Lane, Clare Valley, which is about a few hundred k's, maybe about 150 to 200 k's north of Adelaide, and that's Clare Valley itself, has got here a Couple Trail Shiraz. I think we need to try it. It's 2012. Couple Trail is probably one of the top wines of Annie's Lane. So whatever we're going to taste in here is going to be the best of Annie's Lane. All right?
What was the budget for today, just quietly?
The budget for the day actually was about 50. Yeah. So mine was less than 50. As a matter of fact, I received it from Dom, Alexander's partner or friend. And so I am sharing with my mate. And hopefully she's not going to be too angry. And I'm sharing with my mates the bottle that's is been numbered.
Wow.
AC 210.
Yeah, I'm seeing numbered bottles, and I'm seeing 2012, and I'm thinking someone's blown the budget. That's
Someone's going to lose today, and then therefore we'll have to shout big week next week. All right, so let's have a look. That's right, man.
Annie's Lane, they do some good wine. Dan Murphy's often sell quite a few boxes and then bring it out occasionally.
Yeah.
So if you if you're looking around, it's not far from the back wall. They have an area that they have some cellared wines that they release.
Don't go to the red wine section, mate.
You can grab some beautiful.
You should go to the red wine because you're going to be losing for a while. So
you know what?
if
If you're gonna keep making it my shout, I'm going to introduce you to Passion Pop. I'm going to introduce you to
Pleasant Valley
Sweet
Spumante.
Dry. Yeah, a bit of Spumante. Yeah,
True story, my old man.
I'll really educate you.
Loves
Come on,
that
boys.
stuff.
Let's try this.
Cheers,
Man.
guys.
Every now and then I'm thinking to myself, he's improved on his leadership, and then he start whinging, and I'm going, no, he's broken the first rules of leadership, which is responsibility, no excuse, mate.
There's another one that says, "Don't let people push you around." So, oh, that's very nice.
You call me people? Oh. You call my mate the funny people?
You people.
It looks to me like we're going to have to just reject these people. What do you think of that one?
Wine and Wisdom is now Thomas and Chris.
We are looking for a third person. You don't have to be
funny.
too...
Our first episode was our most popular, and it's the only one you weren't on. So
Most popular by you.
No, but seriously, we are looking for a third member, and you don't have to be too bright. You just have to beat Cam.
IQ bigger than your shoe size.
someone's got to be here to speak the truth, gentlemen. That's all.
Hey, what do you think of that wine, boy?
That's good.
That's not bad.
That's good. Got some body to it. I think it's going to get better with a bit of time.
How do they get out of insecurity then? I mean,
I've already asked you that.
if
my
you're
next
insecure,
question.
how the hell do you get out? We talk about association, right?
Yes.
You get out of that through association. How do you get out of insecurity? Taking the plunge when, just like you, the way that you program your head. I mean, I got in here with nothing. I might as well just do whatever it takes because if anything, I'll get out with nothing.
Yeah, I look at it like...
Or I might get out with a lot more.
Yeah, I don't know where the dollar figure stops, but so far I've had $1,000 to my name and gone, oh, well, if I'm relying on $1,000 to save my life, I'm in the shit, so I might as well spend it. I've had $10,000 to my name and gone, oh, well, if I'm relying on $10,000 to save my life, I'm fucked, so I might as well spend it, and I'll spend it on opportunities.
Yeah.
I don't know where that point stops, but it's fucking expensive to live. Like, you need, at a base level, you need $100,000 a year in your retirement to live. So if you're hanging on to $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, like it's the end of the world if you don't have it,
Yeah.
you're kidding yourself.
No, but if you have friends like us, we always have a shed for him.
Oh, they'll help you spend it. No, but that's what I tell. Like it's one of the lines I've used on myself. You know, because don't get me wrong, I fucking love having money if I have it, but I also go, I could spend $500 here and make $1,500, and to me that's mate. I'm not going to spend $500 to make $5.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I guess people have different levels of comfort and different levels of risk. It's no different to playing a pokey. Some people have a 20-cent bet, some people have a 5-cent bet, but $5 bet.
Do you have a figure in your head that you would say that I've achieved something, or do you have a time that you'd say, well,
It's
I'm
not
getting
about
somewhere?
achieving something. It's about if an opportunity presents itself, the question is, what's the worst that can happen? What's the best that can happen? It's no different to when we're putting a deal together, mate. We're talking to vendors all the time. If someone, you got a house on the market for $760,000 to $840,000, someone offers $800,000, and they say, "Should I take it?" I go, "Well, there's two things. One, I'll never ever tell you to take an offer, but two, let's look at the pros and the cons. How much are we going to hang on for? Are we going to wait another 3 months on the market to try and get an extra $5,000 or $10,000? Is that risk worth it? It's an $800,000 risk you're taking, or okay, that's probably not right. Maybe it's a $50,000 risk you're taking because you're risking the next offer being $750,000. It's the same conversation, but unfortunately, I don't think when people are in that mindset, they do look at it logically, or they look at it with their logic, which is governed by their past and their hidden demons and all that stuff that goes along with it.
Yeah.
I'm sure my wife or my mother, who I've had to borrow money from occasionally, hates my logic because it always ends in, spend the money. But so my logic's probably not always sound either. But I do know that every risk I've ever taken, I'm still sitting here living and breathing to talk about it.
Yeah, but mate, I have to say, look in the way you live, mate. You're a big spender.
Yeah.
You're a big spender. I went to his place. I mean, he was kind enough to invite me. And
Yours in the Marlborough.
and
I've never seen anyone.
but you should have
No
seen.
comment.
You should have seen his vintage bar fridge. It was chock-a-block. Like I've been to the Hunter Valley with him. I have spent $600 for the day. He spent $5,000 for the day.
54 bottles we came back with last time.
Hey, what do you think of this Shiraz, huh?
Beautiful.
I love the wine because it doesn't have just that chocolate that most wine
Shiraz?
around there has got. Yeah, it's just Shiraz, mate.
It's a bit softer, isn't it?
They call it dark berry fruit. It's got that, it's heavy, it's body. It looks to me like it's already beaten the white. So now we just have to see whether the white's gonna beat Chris.
Not interested, like I said.
Did you?
But the end.
Did you hear about? Sorry, just with the reds. Did you hear that they've linked red wine to easing the symptoms of COVID?
Oh, really?
It clearly hasn't.
That's why we're not sick.
It clearly hasn't eased the symptoms of obesity, mate. Looking at you, but
Oh, sorry, Slim. Keep speaking.
it's super dry over there. You're the first non-Asian I've seen wearing a super dry shirt ever.
Now you're racist,
Come to
mate.
Sydney, mate.
No, I'm not being racist. I'm just saying it's even got Chinese writing underneath
Listen,
it.
Chinese lives matter.
I was just thinking more about what you asked me. I don't know if there's a figure. I reckon in my head there'll always be a percentage. So when I won't say if, when I'm lucky enough to have millions in the bank, there'll still be a percentage of it that goes to the piss it up against the wall fund. And it's
Is that like 90%?
No. So we used to have when I was just working as a sales agent, and Thomas is a big proponent of this, you've got to celebrate your wins. So there was a part of my commission check that was always just for me to piss up against the wall. The first one was a TV. The second one was my tag. I can't remember what the third one was, but there was always a percentage.
Second one wasn't your tag. Your wife bought your tag for your birthday.
No. I bought the tag with the first
really?
time I did $150,000 quarter. I bought the
I
tag.
thought it was your wife buying it for your birthday.
No, we went into the shop to buy a $1,500 tag and walked out with a little bit more. But
So it was part of it was your birthday.
no. But I think the end.
I'm just trying to
knowing
make sure
me-
his wife gets a bit of credit. This
well,
dude
it's-
just takes everything, man.
No, it's not. What credit?
He's a super dry himself.
She's
he doesn't wear super
anxious.
dry.
She can't cook. What else
Yeah.
are you going to say?
What was that? If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be sitting here. I'm pretty sure I said that. You fucking idiot. Both of you.
I was going to say you're directing it at
Both
me
of you.
now.
Yeah, no, I thought about that.
Oh,
Both of you.
Far out, man. Man,
Yeah.
you've been.
I don't know. I think anyway. Can we back because before it runs out of my head? They don't stay in there long. These thoughts.
We know.
There would always be a percentage. If there's $10 million in the bank, could you afford to spend $1 million on a gamble? And opportunities are always gambles because they're never a sure thing. Probably, but I don't know because I haven't had $10 million. Well, we know someone who's got millions and he gambles all the time. He'll never knock back an opportunity and do whatever. So, and that again comes back to your makeup. Maybe,
But remember, guys, insecurity is very simple. Make sure that you can live with a minimum, that you can be happy with a minimum, and always go for a maximum. The problem with insecurity is the people who can only live or survive with a maximum and would never bet that maximum for a minimum.
But the irony of it is they'll never have their maximum because they'll never take the opportunities to get that, to really know what maximum is. Yeah, they may think they're living at maximum, but maybe you do back that horse, all of a sudden your maximum's a little bit more. No?
I think the secret there, the word there was the happiness. It's not about minimum and maximum. It's learning to be happy, not having to want more.
Yeah.
Not just learning to be happy. And I know I've caught myself out quite a few times. Just stop and just be happy and enjoy.
Mate, the government's just doubled job seeker, so I'm going to be able to get by regardless.
They've doubled job seeker.
Seeker, before they did it for Corona, so like everyone else who's not applying for a job at the moment because they're happy to sit at home, we'll survive.
Yeah, right.
What's the worst that can happen? Huh?
So how do you see challenges as an opportunity? So what happens to people who look at things as opportunity? Do you think they're dreamers?
No, they're usually. I was about to make the same mistake I thought you made earlier and say usually throw a big banner over everyone, but from what I see, a lot of the time they win.
When I said that, Cam, what I was going back is in our genetic makeup from the time of cavemen, we go to the side of preserving our life. That's what I was going at that initial onset.
But we do it two ways. We run away or we fight.
But the majority of the time...
The preservation's always there, but it inflicts two responses in you. What part of the brain is the fight or flight? The lizard?
Limbic.
The limbic. So all I was saying is I don't know whether, and I'm probably just being too pedantic, but to say that generally everyone's scared, I don't know. Otherwise there wouldn't be fucking people diving out of planes and people... Yeah. For every safe job there is in the world, there's one where you risk your life, I'd reckon. So there's people that are hardwired or soft-wired, predisposed to going one way or the other. But Thomas's question was, what do you see of people who take opportunities? They either end up greatly advancing themselves or they end up where they already were. So it either doesn't work and they stay where they are.
Could they not then maybe be behind where they were if they took that opportunity?
Possibly,
Yeah,
but
but
what's
they,
behind?
I don't know whether those guys really gauge themselves by being ahead or behind.
And are you really behind because you've had that experience and you've grown from it and you've learned something new? So define behind. Yeah, you might have $50 less in the bank, or you might have $5,000 less in the bank. But what have you lost by going for that opportunity and it not working?
At what point is it okay though? So in that event, is it 5,000? Is it 50,000?
You're putting a dollar amount on. I mean, at what point it's not okay is if it's something you don't want to do or you don't have a particular interest in and you're only doing it for the money, then probably not.
Yep.
Probably then it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
But if it's something you would like to do and you've got this something inside just going, I should do this, I should do this, I should do this, and you're still not doing it, then I feel like it's a problem. Then it's your deathbed talk where you go, fuck if only. Well, then in our case, like I don't know, you guys have been around real estate a lot longer. What do you reckon the age limit is on starting a real estate career or a life limit?
No, there's no life limit, mate.
But you get to 60, you're not.
Or maybe you shouldn't try and do that when you're 60.
That's what I'm saying. So how long do you leave it going,
No,
I've
but
always
but
wanted
if
to
someone,
do that?
if someone at the age of 50 had a dream, you have to let them do that.
I'm interviewing 18-year-olds that say, I've always wanted to be in real estate. Okay, for what, this week? Right.
Yeah.
But then I'm interviewing 55 and 60-year-olds who are saying, I've always wanted to be in real estate. And I sit there and go, awesome, I'm happy for you. Are you going to be able to walk 15 kilometres a day door knocking? Are you going to be able to do the grind? Are you going to be able to start from the bottom and work? Cause
But hold on. Me, I look at him differently. I'd be going, hold on, it's taken you a long time to walk towards your dreams.
hopefully it doesn't take you that long to walk from door to door. No, but you know. So what? Because the start, all real estate careers are grind, but the start especially. So there is a time where you go, don't wake up in 20 years' time and still want to do real estate so you can tick it off your deathbed list, because you aren't going to be able to do it to anything that's going to satisfy you on your deathbed. You're still going to sit there and go, I wish I'd done it earlier.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. I haven't seen anyone start late, but that's because I haven't been around long enough myself.
What for you is start late? 40s, 50s?
Well, that's why I don't know. I think someone who's been in a career for 30 years, they're 50 years old, they've built themselves up, and they're leaving, they've been a manager and they've been a this and that. I think it's a big call, but 50 is still young. Yeah. So 60, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's why I asked you guys the question. I sit there and go, when I'm interviewing, I go, okay, I'm 38, you're 55. One, are you going to be able to come and work for someone who's 20 years younger than you? Two, we know the grind of the start of a real estate career. Are you really going to be able to start from the bottom? Like really?
Yeah.
And then understanding what the bottom is. We interviewed a guy once, and I asked him all those questions, and he was, yeah. And he was going to come in for an opportunity day because he'd convinced us. And then he rang up and said, I'm not coming in. I rang a few other officers to see if that's actually what you have to do, and it is. So I'm not. I'm not. And you could tell he had this air about him where it's like, I don't think you're going to be able to. It's not lower yourself but it is in a sense of title and a sense of everything else. Are you going to be able to start from the bottom?
Yeah.
And the bottom's a horrible word.
At the beginning.
Go back to the start, because at 50 years old, you've probably been working for 32 years since you were 18. Some people since they were 10 years old.
Yeah.
You've got everything you've gotten in life by working bloody hard for it. To start again, man, big call.
Yeah.
Big call.
Look, I don't know if someone can come in at that age into real estate at 50, 55, 60, 65. I've never had anyone fresh into real estate in our office at that age.
Yeah.
So I don't know the answer to that.
No, fresh at that age, it's like everything. I mean, you probably want to have a plumber fresh at the age of 68.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying. Maybe we should not really have a look at age. I think if they were
What I'm saying is
if they were working as a salesperson and they decided at the age of 55 that we're going to do their own thing, that's a different thing. Then I would say there is no age. Sometimes it takes some people 55 years to unchain themselves from those lack of belief, the beliefs that they're not worth it, they can't do it, that they're not worthy of it. So it depends on how long it takes them to remove the chains of their life to start flying free.
I guess the point I was trying to make is don't leave it too long.
No, it's up to them. It's what it takes for them. Like
Our mate was 45, the one we sat with.
Yeah.
How much longer is he going to go being a sales manager for a struggling company?
Well, I think that mate of yours probably may have been institutionalized, meaning he's been in an office over 5 years. So between 5 and 10, they start to develop root system, and that root system is now stopping them from moving forward. And happens in a lot of institutions, mate, where people just work and they forget the amount of time they work, and it becomes the new normal for their life. And they forgetting their potential, and they starting to believe in the last 10 years of their life and determine that as their life in business.
There's somewhere I'm trying to grow is the empathy for people who are like that, because I'm not. I just go, just fucking do it. What's the worst that's going to happen? Look at all this. Look what we could do. Just fucking do it. And when people go, oh no, this and this and this, and my instant reaction is, yeah. And I don't want to do that. But part of me goes, well, you don't want to hang around people who are too scared to take a leap sometimes either. You know.
But then you stuffed up like Wisebury, one of Wisebury 15 life qualities, where empathy is a must we have to have.
Yeah. I've got empathy to a lot of situations. Someone sitting there going, I want this in my life, I want this in my life, I want this in my life, I don't like this in my life, I don't like this in my life, but I'm not going to change to get that and get rid of that. My empathy runs out.
I would look at it as them crying for help and saying, Cam, whatever you've been saying to me so far has not been enough to persuade me. Tell me something else.
Yeah, I'm shit out of ideas.
So your empathy should really be thinking of, all right, that's what they're crying for. They're crying for that one nail that's going to seal it. Instead of you sitting there and judging them by the fact that, I've given you so many opportunities, maybe you should go, I have not given you enough arguments for you to make that urge.
I'm not winning the listing. Yeah.
That's where empathy comes in.
Is it an empathetic thing or a skill thing and an experience thing?
No. It's
because I think I asked you the other day.
You did, and you were saying that you were laxing. You felt it was your fault that you couldn't impart that knowledge in sort of.
I rang him the other day because I wanted him to have a lunch with another one of the blokes we spoke about earlier, who I'm trying to get to sort his life out, and I just said I've made it at this point it's above my pay grade because I've shown him he's doubted me on figures. I've shown him the figures. He told me I was going to be broke. He's seen what I've been able to do. He's told me how badly his bosses have treated him and his whole stuff. Like, I've done everything I know how to do. And that's why I ring him and go, mate, what's the... Yep. Some things are going to be above your pay grade. And I don't think it's a lack of empathy. I just go, I don't know what else to show you, mate. I don't know what else I can tell you. You've seen it. It's the same thing I've done since I started in this industry. All I've ever known is doing it. Yep. I don't know. I was never the best trainer, never the best anything. But at the very least with me, what you get is someone who's doing it. When all else fails, when I'm trying to talk to these guys and help with their insecurities, I'm like, at the very least, you've watched me do it.
Yeah.
Yeah? So I don't know.
So, boys, let's talk more about this opportunity. So who would see, opportunities? Because it's not a normal thing to look at things as an opportunity all the time.
You have to be in a mindset of looking for more to begin with, don't you? Otherwise, you won't see them when they come up.
That's true. There's a lot of opportunities where at the moment, all the time, there is a lot of opportunities out there.
I don't know if there's any, we're getting a bit past that now where I think the generation of 9-to-5 job, work hard, pay off your bills, stay at the same factory for 50 years. I think I haven't heard that thrown out there for a long time now, so that might be gone. But
that was
still,
the baby boomers, right?
There's still that sort of, there is still a lot of get a solid job, pay off your house. If you are get a solid job, pay off your house, you are not going to see any opportunity. Wouldn't matter if it walked up and smacked you in the head.
Never.
It could punch you in the face 14 times and you still won't know what hit you. So I guess it's going to have to start with wanting more, understanding that there is more, not being happy with. I think there's a difference between not being happy and wanting to improve your life. Just because I want to go out and get more doesn't mean I can't stay where I am either and be happy. Yep. And I think sometimes people are, just be happy with what you've got and be grateful and all that. I think sometimes people interpret that as you can't want more, you shouldn't want more, you shouldn't look for more. And if you're in that mindset where I've got a job, I've got a house, I've got my kids, life's good, I'll see you in 40 years and see if you're still stoked.
Have to look at things as opportunities. So this is for your son, one of my favorite boy, Isaac. So this is the opportunity for you, son. you have to buy yourself your first home because it gives you opportunity. Once you have your first home, it's going to go up in equity. Use that equity to buy 2. Because when 2 go up in equity, you can buy 4 without putting 1 cent of deposit. Then 4 becomes 8. And all you have to do is work as hard as you can to make sure repayment can happen and the tenant will help you.
Dad's not paying for it, son.
And then suddenly life becomes opportunity.
Sorry, just to stop you there, because without...
It's just for Isaac, by the way.
Yeah, we're going to get off topic just a little bit. I'm of the belief that your first house and your second house and even your third house shouldn't be the house you're going to live in. You're talking about buying an investment property?
I'm talking about buying any property.
Anything? Because I sell houses every day to people who are spending $900,000 on their very first home. Their chances of buying an investment property in the near future are slim to none. Now, there's a school of thought that says buy positively geared investment properties until it can pay for the house that you're going to live in.
Getting into negative gearing?
Yeah, so there's
versus positive gearing. I know we're getting off, but if you're going to give my son advice, I want it to be clear because I believe...
I have given him an advice that he used and he floored a 200-pound dude to the ground in half a second, correct?
I'm at least 280 pounds. The only reason I bought my house is because it came with 250 grand's worth of equity already built into it. I was buying it off my parents. I was able to buy it cheap. Apart from that, we're about to go and buy 2 houses in Taree that were going to be positively geared and hopefully eventually get enough money from positively geared properties to buy something.
Yeah, I get it.
But you also...
You don't like it?
It depends what you want.
You just have to be able to tell your children the same, and they should be doing the same. Do you know, some of the people that I've trained here when I was 17, today are just 32 and own 20 houses.
Yeah. Will not shout you a beer, but own 20 houses, Kurt. Sorry, mate. I choked on something.
I didn't say shit like this.
He's bought me a beer, so I don't know what your problem is. But
obviously, he likes you. He likes you and not him.
That's a problem.
Oh, he didn't get an invite to the party either, so it's all right.
So sorry, I didn't mean to stop you. Keep advising Isaac, but I just want to, because we're getting into a subject that interests me, because I'm getting ready to go again.
So first of all, opportunity is the same thing. You have to see it because you belong to a group of people who talk that way.
You have to be open to it. You won't always see it, but if you're not open to it, it will never present itself. I grew up in a house where it was work hard, pay off your house. My parents are the hardest workers that I know.
Yeah.
Because of probably the way they were brought up or the mentality of the time, they don't own 20 houses, and they're still working.
To pay.
Yeah,
because they work hard to pay the first house.
Yeah,
which is a stupid option.
Yeah, and I still see it now. I've got mates who I bought my first house, and I'm just paying off my mortgage, and I'm like, do interest only? Nah, I'm paying it off. Don't pay off your house. Paying it off. I'm paying it off. We've paid off our house. We're going to get a loan. Oh, the bank will only lend us 300 grand because you paid off your fucking house. So there's breaking free from the past, but at least they're open to opportunity to buy the house in the first place. They saw that as an opportunity.
Look, when it comes to financial education, a lot of people aren't. There are a lot of books and a lot of avenues they can go down to get that financial education, whether it be Robert Kiyosaki's books or whatever. But finding that opportunity, I think you said before, Cam, that if people aren't happy, I think we've got to be happy in what we have and then to search to make more of what we have.
You don't have to be happy in what you have.
I think you have to, not content, but you have to be happy. Happiness is an idea now. It's not an idea later.
I think a lot of great people have come from absolutely nothing, and the reason they came from absolutely nothing is because they didn't want to have absolutely nothing. You don't hear people go, I was poor and I was living in the ghetto and my mama was feeding 18 babies and I was happy.
But also you hear a lot of rich people that aren't happy, like Steve Jobs.
No, I'm not saying you have to be rich to be happy. I'm saying you don't have to be happy to look for opportunities.
No, I'm not saying you have to be happy to look for opportunities.
You just did.
What I'm saying is be happy with what you have. Yeah. Be content with, be happy and enjoy what you have, but strive for more.
Yeah.
But I think if people aren't striving for more, they need to be happy with what they have.
Yeah.
And it's a choice. It's not a destination. Happiness is a choice you make now.
It's okay to want more.
That's what I'm saying. Don't be content. Absolutely. Don't be content with what you want and wanting more, but you need to be happy with what you have.
Shit, you guys are becoming philosophical. Maybe that's because the third bottle is about to come.
Right, yeah. Third bottle.
Yeah, it's getting philosophical.
Lambert's Estate. It's from the Barossa Valley. This is a Tempranillo. It's actually a Spanish grape.
Yeah.
And
do you know that is the oldest grape in the world?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Like prostitution's the oldest profession. It's the prostitutes of red wine.
There you go. And look what's on the label.
Hey! Very good.
Oh,
Is
that's
that the
quite funny.
Wisebury couch?
It's a Wisebury couch. So this is actually one of 11,888 bottles. It's a 2012, and it's called a Tempt Me. And it's the picture on the bottle is a lady on a couch lying sideways. So
Why that number 11,000?
why 11,888? I don't know.
They ran out of grapes.
Come on, let's serve it, boys.
I thought you were going to impart some wisdom then. You knew a secret.
No, I'm asking you, mate.
No,
Your wine, man.
He's going to
He's
look it up.
imparting it on Google.
Haven't tried it.
Looks like the white lost again. Oh, nice. The
is nice.
bouquet is nice.
Had the bouquet.
Maybe I should have left that at home.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Good. Hard wine to pick today.
We met a few people, opportunity-wise, on the weekend. Spencer, he'd come from Canada.
I really like it.
Zara had come from, she'd studied for about 5 uni degrees, hadn't finished any of them, and found
Yeah,
a
but
calling as a...
Mate, can you blame her? This girl is grabbing opportunities after opportunities.
No, it's not
after.
them.
We're talking about it, and she's one of those that's grabbing
That's us.
opportunities one after another.
Yeah, no, I'm not blaming her. I'm saying we met
No,
some of
I
those
know, but
people on the
from
weekend.
on the outside, some people would have gone, "Oh shit, she
Stick
didn't
to
even
one. What are you doing? Yeah.
She didn't even finish one." Should you finish a degree and then say no to it and walk away from it and say, "Oh, I'll complete it"? If you have figured out or something in your heart is not clicking with it, and you walk away faster than having to finish it, I mean, which one is better?
This coming from a man who walked away from medicine.
Medicine, 2 years.
Yeah, me
I
too. I could
couldn't
have been a
stand
doctor.
blood, mate. I couldn't stand blood. I want to work on people without syringes, and one day it's going to happen, then I'll go back.
In taking all those advantages, people, especially I would say this Zara that you're speaking to, was quite young.
No, Zara is the waitress in the Hunter Valley who works for Morgan.
She would have been quite young.
Oh, yes. She's probably 25, 26.
So it might take her a few years to find her feet and what she actually wants to do.
I think she's found it.
She found it.
She's now running the weddings and
She's
the
found it.
functions.
So
and
functions coordinator, and she's loving
very,
it.
very good, mate.
There you go.
Very, very good. Offered her a job. No good. Spencer, he'd come from Canada.
Yeah.
Initially, he said, I'm doing my first dalliance into wines, but he'd been there 4 years.
His first what?
A dalliance. First, you wouldn't know because you don't take any risk. His first interaction with... his first dipping the toe in the water with
He
wine.
couldn't give a shit
Did
about
he?
what he just said. What he put in brackets.
And he said that with a straight face too.
He did.
No, you did, not
Yeah.
he.
So what is it that you have against him, man?
I don't have anything against him.
Okay.
I'd love having the same conversation for 3 years and it going nowhere.
What's that conversation, Cam?
The conversation about where you'd really like to do your own thing, but you won't do your own thing.
But he's content.
Is he? This is a bit where my empathy runs out.
Listen,
That's
everyone's got a dream. I mean, I love to be president of America and kick the shit out of Donald Trump, but I'm not born in America.
I wasn't using Chris as any examples before, but where we talked about my empathy, and that's where I struggle. My empathy runs out after having the same with my other mate. It's 5 years. So if you're going to complain for 5 years, and I don't say you as in you, or if you as in the person, is going to complain for 5 years about the same thing and not do anything about it when the opportunity has been rammed down your throat 100 times,
Yeah.
I know I can't help you. Even to the point where my mate, who now looks like he might do something with us, he tried to talk to me about it the other day. I said, mate, I don't want to talk about it. I just want to have a beer with you because the conversation's going to go nowhere. You're not going to do it. I'm done talking about the same thing. Let's just have a beer because you can't keep having the conversation. So it's not having anything against Chris. It's just we've had a same conversation multiple times over many years. That's the topic we're on today.
No, but I think it's also a very good topic. I didn't know we were going to go there, but it's a very good one to have because what do? Do you push a guy who was having a dream to do it, but he's just entertaining it and he's just content with this life because he's found nirvana?
Yeah, no, you don't push it.
What do you do?
That's a jealousy, not a jealousy thing. I'm jealous. If someone's content and found nirvana, stay there, bro. Stay there. But you're not content and found nirvana if you're complaining every 5 seconds about your nirvana.
Yeah,
All right, that's the point.
I understand.
If someone's got no complaints in the world and nothing they'd change, completely happy. Let's sit there and have a beer. But if you're going to talk about it, complain about it, let it upset you, let it stress you, let it disappoint you, then change it, or we can't keep having the same conversation for 5 years. That's my point.
Cool.
And anyone who says they're content but then does the other, complains about it, whinges about it, carries on about it, isn't content, and then there's only so much you can do. And that's where I said to you the other day, it's above my pay grade now, because I can't do, in a cold black and white sense, I've shown the figures. In a, mate, let me help you sense, I've done that. I've done everything I know how to do.
Yeah.
So in the end, it's, shut up, mate, I just want to have a beer, because you're not going to do it. We've been talking about the same thing, and that might be
Is your mate in real estate?
No, he's the number one sales person for a major car company in Australia.
Okay.
Gets paid.
But
fuck
hold
all.
on. You have lost a very big battle in the wine contest.
Wine, fuck off.
No. Hey, I'm talking about something serious here.
Yeah, I can
And
tell.
the only reason you lost was that you opened the bottle
20 years too soon.
20 years too soon.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you lost 20 years too soon, could it be that you tried on your friend 20 years too soon?
Yeah.
Then why would you be impatient? The mistake is
No,
yours.
No.
The mistake should not be on him. The mistake is yours. You have tried to convince him 20 years too early.
No.
We need to wait until he's 59 before he starts.
I didn't go and buy that bottle of wine when we're talking about my mate. The bottle of wine keeps turning up on my doorstep and asking to be opened, and then at the last minute says, don't
As we're
open
sitting here, the bottle of wine keeps on propping up in your mouth.
No, so here's the thing. For 4 of the 5 years, I haven't started that conversation because I get sick of having the same conversation, as I've just said. So I don't push it. And I don't, when I started again the other day.
No, but you're frustrated.
Yeah, because he came to me the other day in front of his work and told me what they did to him during COVID. I was standing in the middle of his showroom when he told me what they'd done. They fucking cut all their staff to 3 days a week pay, but said to them, if you don't work your full roster, you'll be first sacked. They didn't put them on the meaningful roster like Rita did.
Yeah.
If you're on the meaningful roster, they said you'll be first fucking gone if you don't work an 11-hour fortnight instead of the 3 days we're going to pay for you. Right? And I stood there in the middle of his showroom and I said, good on you, mate. Stay here working for these people because you've earned it.
Yeah.
You know, and here is someone who he knows the door's always open.
Yeah.
I'd be mad not to. He's the number one at what he does in the country.
Let him be poor. He wants to be poor.
I'm not trying to drag him.
Listen, mate, there's some people enjoying poverty and talking to
Not
rich
trying
guys.
to drag him.
Eh?
Not trying to drag him. When was the last time I told you
but
should open your own office?
why are you frustrated?
Because we're talking about the difference between insecurity and opportunity, and
Or
how people can.
or are you frustrated because he's really one of your best mate, and you want the best for his life, you want the best for him, and he can't see it?
Yeah, I think Cam can see the potential in this guy.
Yeah.
He can't see it himself.
Yeah, but it doesn't. You're talking like it keeps me up at night. It doesn't, because whatever will be, and the reason
Whatever will be, will be.
You
that
asked me.
talks like you are freaking the man who is instigate the best in life for people.
I can't drag someone kicking and screaming.
No, you can't open a bottle before it's due.
So I've stopped. I stopped trying to open that bottle 4 years ago.
But you're frustrated.
We're
So
talking
you're the
about,
guy.
no,
that,
we're
you're
here
the guy that
talking
can't open it for 20 years, but every single day you go, I wish I could open it today. I wish I could open today.
We're having a conversation. We've just spoken for an hour about the insecurity versus opportunity and why people choose certain paths. I've already said this guy's above my fucking pay grade because I can't work it out. Not being able to work it out and understand the logic is frustrating. But it's not for him, and it's not for him. It's for just life
Just in
general.
What? Thomas, you said a saying a while ago. There's an old saying that says you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But then you added, what happens if the horse wasn't thirsty in the first place?
Yeah, ask it first. Is it
That's
thirsty?
perfect. And we've
and that's
talked,
probably where you're at. And you said, Cam, and I can say that you just bring up the fact that this guy,
I can
you
see that
his
the
potential.
wine's ready now.
His potential's there.
That
Open the
bottle of wine is ready to be opened.
But he doesn't want his cork popped.
It's close. It's just a bit of a crusty cork. It's like it's been in your garage for 20 fucking years.
Oh, fuck off.
But yeah, it's not.
I have to say,
it's not.
I still remember that Christmas party at your place. That was the nicest thing, mate. We kept on shooting those bottles down. I mean, it's personally, how did you feel? Because you never spoke about it.
You know what I'll tell you. You know what I'm surprised with Cameron is that he was invited to my place to start with.
Yeah.
It hasn't been reciprocated. Number one.
It is
number
true.
one,
He
number
hasn't.
one, number one.
Because he knew you would be coming with bottles that would be
His
off.
beautiful wife bought us a beautiful orchid. Cameron showed up empty-handed, but anyway.
But I've done that before, mate. Don't worry.
Forget all the food and the beautiful food I cooked and the fish and the meat and the salads and all that. He worries about the 2 bottles that I had been keeping for a special occasion. They just happened to be opened after they were supposed to be opened. But he keeps regurgitating that.
It's because I'm an alcoholic.
It's because you got fucking no empathy, mate.
Is it no empathy? Is it no empathy? Really? No, mate, he's competitive, man.
Rubbish.
This dude will say anything, even dump anyone he knows with lies because they secret lies, right? Just to win a point, mate. This dude would do anything.
Simple question.
Yeah.
Here we
Cameron,
go.
do you like this red?
Yes.
Come from my garage, mate.
Yeah.
Simple question. And I wasn't going to tell anyone until you
Chris,
fucking said that.
simple question. Were the wines you dished up at your place that time rubbish?
2 of them, yes.
Were some of the Chardonnays...
Not this one.
Were some of the Chardonnays piss brown?
There's no question, yes.
Yes.
I
So that's
wasn't
all.
arguing. But to regurgitate the same shit and chew it again and then again, and the joke is old, man. You got to get some new
pretty sure
material.
he brought it
you
up
know where
over
you
there.
get some new material?
Well, it's much like
If you
your
invite me to
complaints.
your
for-
house.
it's much
hang
like,
on, that hasn't happened yet.
Much
Sorry,
like your
hang on, wait.
complaints for the last 3 years, I'm saying get
When
some
was the last
fucking
time
new
I complained to
material.
you?
Because you've finally
When was
heard.
the last time?
You've finally
When
learned
was the last
lesson.
time?
So that's true. When were you
It would have been 2
invited?
years ago, mate, since the last time.
What do you mean?
That's where the frustration comes from, mate. When not
No,
because
it's
I
true,
can't.
but it's true now. You haven't invited him at your, to
I
your
did.
place.
No, we had.
We call each other's mate, but when was the last time?
Everyone
Sorry,
Listen,
anyone-
I keep inviting all of you to
Everyone
my
was
place. Mate, you guys have been more to my place than there's freaking tickets on the train.
Everyone was invited.
So
The first COVID lockdown shut down our party, remember? We were all coming. You cancelled that. You better cancel. You better cancel. I'm not cancelling. You better cancel. I'm not cancelling. You better cancel. I'm not cancelling. I cancel. See, he cancelled it. I knew he was going to do that. That's how that fucking conversation went for a week. So, don't worry. The frustration comes
Listen.
because the complaints keep coming. So with my
listen,
mate,
I still have free tickets to South Sydney. There's a race. I think it's the Everest this weekend in Randwick.
race
I still
day.
have tickets, but I'm not going. A few days ago we had to cancel. Mate, with what's happening here, I am not going to contribute to a percentage rise in mask wearing.
it's all right, mate. Souths aren't going that well, so we've wasted our sponsorship dollars there.
No, we have not wasted. No, I don't think we have
Should have
wasted.
sponsored Manly. They're going heaps better.
Oh, football this season altogether is a bit of a strange
It's a
one.
bit of
Anyway.
a joke. Anyway, if I would never sponsor a bunch of whatever.
Okay.
You
let's
did.
say it.
No, I didn't.
You did.
No. I don't hold the checkbook, so I don't know how to do that.
That mate, it paid for. I still paid for itself. I got 5 minutes with Wayne Bennett. That was
So
enough.
for the moment, here's the thing. Out of the three of us, Cameron always looks at opportunities in things. I have learned to look at opportunities, even though my makeup drives me to always look as insecurity first. You seem to have more insecurity than the two of us. The
Absolutely.
Three. Yeah.
No question.
So may I ask you, this last year, because we've been doing for a year, has your insecurity moved up a little bit, one notch or not?
It's decreased rather than increased.
Hold on. So your insecurity has decreased?
Decreased.
Yeah, your insecurity has decreased.
Decreased.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So what it shows is
Because I
that
know my wine is
association.
better than Cameron's, but anyway, so. Ah, look, what, you got nothing to say now.
I'm looking at that shirt that's struggling to survive under the pressure that
I'm sorry,
is
Slim.
coming from
Keep
within,
speaking.
mate. But
Pot, kettle, black.
he was trying to, don't change the subject. So here's his insecurity because you've asked him a serious
No,
question.
just want to bring it back to you.
No, but now that you
But you know,
about
my
shirts,
my
can you picture the Michelin Man?
You've got two of them.
Right. Can you picture the Michelin Man in a Radicals car? Right? Can you now then can you
That
picture
fucker was never going to flip over, bro. I had that nailed.
can you picture the Michelin Man with his elbow in the lung of his instructor?
All I've got in my head, I don't know if you've seen the movie The Nutty Professor, when Eddie Murphy turns fat inside the Dodge Charger. The Viper, so Dodge Viper.
I don't remember the scene, but I've seen the movie.
And he's stuck, and they actually had to get the jaws of life to cut him out of the car.
Yeah.
That's what I'm picturing.
How about fuck you?
Flowers and dinner first.
No, I have to say
Back to Mr. Insecure over
So,
here.
yes, no, my insecurity has decreased. And bringing it back to
How do you
a
know?
conversation
How do you
that-
know? I'm interested. Legitimate question.
That's good. I probably toyed with the idea a lot more than I have previously and done more about it than I have previously.
Oh, that's nice. So it looks like association has helped.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Fucking
Do you
bash
say
him
that
into-
association is the thing, or was there other thing in play?
No, it wouldn't be only association because, I mean, I've been privy to conversations where I think, well, fuck, I don't want to be in that position. But by the same token, there's other parts of it that I think I can do.
What's your
very
biggest
well.
block for you? So
Losing what I have
okay,
and for who I have it for.
okay.
And that's why the question Thomas asked me that was so hard-hitting was, if there was no one else involved in the decision, what would the decision be? And it was, it's an easy answer, a very, very easy answer. It's not even I have to think about it, easy answer. But because there's others in play.
So let's break it down, though. Are you making $1 million?
No, but definitely not. No, definitely not. But we've got a nice little nest egg behind
But
us.
first he has to go to work, man.
But properties, we've got we've got some things behind us that trying to set up the kids and ourselves for our future. And I'm probably doing exactly what my dad did when he come from nothing, when he come to Australia. So I'm doing that same.
So how much are you expecting it to cost you?
What do you mean by that? I don't understand.
Well, you're saying you've got
To
a nest
set-
egg behind you, which
Well, to
you're
set
saying
up.
you'll risk losing your nest egg. So how much?
Now, when I say
do you
nest
think-
egg, I'm talking about like investments and so forth.
Yeah,
But
so how much are you thinking? What are you thinking you're going to have to spend to do something?
Okay, how much money do I have to open my own business?
Yes.
Without a rent roll behind me?
Yeah.
$100,000 for the first 12 months minimum.
Why?
That's, you asked me, I don't know why. That's the figures that I come to mind.
All right, so let's go with 100,000. It's not, but let's go with 100,000.
Yeah.
If you lose $100,000,
Yeah.
is your nest egg all your investments and your kids in harm?
No, and I know the logic behind it. No,
No. So that's
and then
what
it
I'm
comes
asking.
down to.
So what was that answer again?
Yeah.
No.
No, they're not. They're not.
So if you lose $100,000, you're still okay.
things would have to change.
No,
Things-
but you have to understand this. I know Chris. We've been mates for quite a
So
while.
I'm trying to
And-
break
and
it
his
down.
problem is not that. His problem is the guilt that he has lost $100,000 to
Yeah.
the family inheritance and the piggy bank. That hurts him.
Okay, so your own guilt.
As you know,
would your,
I've
would
had a
your wife
business
hold it
before.
against you?
No, definitely not. She supports me. She goes,
Right.
just go and open it. If you want to open it, go and open a business.
Right.
She's outrightly
So
said
the
to
guilt is your own.
me, and you used the word about Crystal before was effaced.
No, she's a saint.
A saint. No, no. There's a word that someone, a wife that will back you 100%. She's 100% behind me, and so are the kids.
So it's your own guilt.
Absolutely, it's
Right.
me stopping me.
No,
There's
that's fine.
no question.
I'm
mate.
not.
Yeah.
Not even having a shot at you.
No, no,
I'm
I'm-
trying
I-
to break it down.
Mate, I've had more probably self-talk and self-analysis of why I haven't and why I don't, or why would I, in the last 18 months than I probably ever have. And this is probably
Carry on
conversation.
open for 25 grand. Whether that's information that should be shared on here or not, I don't know. But
Yeah,
anyone who's thinking about doing it, who thinks they need fucking $5 million behind them,
Yeah.
Carry on open for 25 grand was profitable within 3 months.
However, the 25 grand physically can translate into 25 million in someone's head.
Yes. Yeah, that's sort of bit, this is where the sum. So 100 grand is wrong because that tells you got to pay yourself 100 grand for the year and not sell a house.
No,
right?
that's not. Yeah, okay, but that's
Right.
not the mathematics in my head. But okay,
But yeah,
Yeah.
right. So one, your figures are wrong, feeding you that story, which is blowing the story up way bigger than it has to be.
yeah,
You've got guilt for doing the wrong thing by your family, even though your family's saying go for it. So
Yeah.
that doesn't compute.
Yeah.
So your 1 + 1 is equaling 475.3
I'll get you.
instead of 2. So
Yeah.
this is
And it comes back also.
This
to
is
what
why
you
we're
said
having this
before.
podcast to analyse this because
100%, mate.
I don't get it.
And it's easy to sit here and say, Wayne Dwyer said, looking at your future is like watching the wake
No,
in
I'm
a
not
boat.
pulling out any
No,
quotes.
I'm pulling it out, and I'll explain to you why in a minute. How you said before, look at you wake the boat.
The wake behind the boat
Right,
is nothing else but the past.
right.
You must look forward.
In the past, I've had a business that put us in the hole by almost $100,000, and I still am upset with myself that I did that. I know my wife doesn't have any angst about that. I know for a fact, but that doesn't mean I've sort of forgiven myself for
So
that.
don't sprout the figures here, but think about how much you would have to suck given your current position, to put yourself 100 grand in the hole? Because in the hole is being 100 grand, not losing 100 grand, it's being 100 grand in debt.
Yeah.
That's 100 grand in the red.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
without giving away, think about it like that, mate.
Yeah.
To put yourself in that
And then-
position,
and then it comes
how much
back-
would you have to suck at real estate?
and then it comes back to your own self-belief. And then it comes
Well,
back
how
to
much
your own
do you
self-belief.
suck at real estate?
Well, I don't believe I do. I don't believe I do suck
Well, you
at real
do,
estate.
because you're thinking you're going to end up 100 grand in the hole, which means losing a way more than 100 grand.
I'm with you, mate. I'm with you.
You're not with me.
I know. I understand what you're saying is what I'm getting at, mate. But it's, we're built differently, Cam.
I'm not doubting it.
And, for myself, those thoughts in my head are analysed
So
differently.
how many people are missing great opportunities out there? How many people out there are missing great opportunities because of, one, the wrong maths, right? On a very basic level, the figures are wrong. The guy we sat with had his figures all wrong. Oh, no, actually, he had them right. He told me what it would probably cost to run a couple of offices. He was pretty close. But you're saying 100 grand, which is miles off. Percentage terms, you're 80% off, right? How many people, one, start with the wrong facts and figures in their head, which then leads to the horrible story, and then if you have any inkling of self-doubt or any anxiety, of course you're not going to fucking do it because your maths is wrong to start with. So maybe the first part of it is, one, you have to be open to an opportunity, but if you are open to an opportunity, look at things as they are, not worse than they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at
And
the
make them
actual
better than they are.
No, well, look at the actual figures.
Yeah. I've gone to the degree of, so I've been speaking to people about possibly buying rent rolls and so forth. So I've got people working on finances and just in my mind working things from behind the scenes forward. Is my maths wrong and can I do it better? Absolutely. But I think the first and foremost, my hurdle is my own self-belief. And no, I don't believe I suck in real estate. I don't. It's sort of an oxymoron when I sit here and say, no, I don't believe I suck at real estate, but can I do it if I open my own? It's sort of, well, how does that work?
You ring up, you ask someone if they're selling, you go out and list their
I
house.
understand the basics.
It doesn't, mate, it doesn't change.
I'm going to the back to the simple factor, mate. And that's the sort of way, that's what goes through my head.
Yeah, but well, there's not even a but. Yes, I get it, but your 1 + 1 is still not equaling 2.
Yeah.
What happens if you have a door with your name on it? You have a door with your name on it,
Yeah.
and you ring up and go, are you selling? Yes, can I come out? And you win. I don't. That's where, and you're right. Why different? And I was going to say before, if everyone was looking for an opportunity, the world wouldn't work because there are meant to be
There's troops and
employees
Indians.
and they're meant to be employers. There's entrepreneurs and there's the grinders. I'll
go a little bit deeper, and this is where Cam, I'll get a little bit caught up as well. I'll tell you, and I don't know if this is a cop out. And I've had this conversation with
Guaranteed
Thomas
to be a
as well.
cop-out.
And it may well and truly be, mate. No, it may.
start it with that.
No, it may be, but I have a good life. I have a fantastic wife. I have great kids, and we've got a comfortable life. I'm happy with what I've got. Am I content? That's the question. Is it a contentment that I have for myself, or is it contentment that society puts on me? If it's a contentment that society puts on me, I'll say the outside looking in, or people will go, you should be opening your own, you should be opening your own. And I'll go, well, do I want to? And that's probably a question I ask myself more times than I want. Do I want to? I know I can put the work in. I know I can lead people. And I know I can sell real estate. Do I want to is the question at the end of the day. Do I want? And then I start second guessing myself. Have I got into a habit of comfortability?
Do you want to be doing what you're doing now in 30 years' time?
I don't want to be doing it in 10 years' time, mate. I want to be leading people. I love leading. I love training. The listing selling.
So you're not
content
content, because if you're content, I'm happy to sit here and tread water for the next.
Yeah,
how old are you, brother?
That's a good point.
How old are you? Serious question. Serious question. 48.
Mid 40s.
48.
Yeah, that's mid 40s.
That's mid to
No,
highs.
it's
we
mid
call
40s.
it. In the real estate
Mid-40s.
game, we call it mid to highs.
Mid 40s.
Mid to high fours.
49 this year, 50 next.
So you got 25 years, and the way the world's going, who knows? So you're happy doing what you're doing for 25 years?
No.
There's your answer.
Yeah.
And you just said you're not happy for doing it for the next 10.
No, but that's not the answer.
It is the answer.
Cam, he gave you.
It's that
his
simple.
answer. The answer is right for the person whose life is in his own hands. If Chris is happy doing what he
just said no.
No, he's happy right now. The unhappiness of 25 years may not be the driver for a person whose happiness of right now is the driver.
Are you happy doing what you're doing for the next 5 years?
No. Are you
Let's
happy
shorten the
with what
time.
you're doing right now? He said yes.
No, I didn't.
Are you happy with your life right now?
Are you happy doing what you're doing right now? Not with your life, doing what you're doing.
Okay, so I'm not happy doing what I'm doing. I'm happy with my life.
Okay. If he's happy with that,
How can they be the
here's a
same?
real question, and I think that it may deserve another podcast of ours, which is, first of all, do you gauge your life by what you're happy doing right now, by what you feel, or by what you're thinking about what it should be in 25 years? That's the three options.
We got another podcast. How can you say you're happy with life but not happy doing what you're doing right now? Because isn't that part of your life?
It is.
Thank you. I rest my case, Your Honour.
Fucking Judge
Should've been a
Judy.
lawyer.
No,
I'll
you
give
have to
some
ask yourself
answer.
a question.
I
Why
was-
isn't he not happy with what he's doing right now? Is it because things are hard?
Results aren't the best, yeah.
Here you go. I raise my case, Your Honor.
Do you think it could be done a different way? Well,
Yes.
probably going down a road we can't do. Do you think you've got some ideas you could do
Yes.
yourself? Right. I rest my case, Your Honour.
This is fucking...
Hold on. Is he fighting for my case or is he fighting for his case now?
Have you been talking? What year
unbelievable.
was Singapore? Have you been talking since Singapore about wanting to do your own thing?
My thoughts about it, yes, I have.
Thank you. I rest my case, Your Honour.
Listen, stop resting your case because we keep on spinning. There are people who talk and contemplate and look at life in terms of what it could be. But if they are happy with what it is,
He just said
what
he's
could
not.
be is shit.
He just said he's not. I'm happy in
He
life, but I'm
said-
not happy doing what I'm doing.
No, then he said he's happy with what life is for the moment. What he does is just a job. A job is not who you are. It's not determining what
It's only
life
what you do
have.
for 10 hours a day, or in Chris's case, 4.
Why do you do what you do? What's your why?
Because I want to get myself as quickly as possible to a point where I can work by choice, not out of necessity.
Okay. And what's sort of your mission statement? So if someone come to your office and I was going to sell, why do you do that, Cam? How can that help me?
Because I can help you do the same thing.
Okay. So you want to work out of choice, not necessity.
Yes. I will always work. I'm a worker.
Right.
We've had this conversation before. The one part, not the one part, but the part of real estate I love the most is negotiating deals.
Yep.
I don't care much for Caesar stone benches, and I don't care much for double brick construction and all that stuff. I love doing deals.
Yep.
I've found a vehicle that can not only help a lot of people in their life, but help me set my family up and get me to a position where I can work out of choice, not necessity, if I do it right. I used to think that was selling fucking weight loss shakes because the great network marketing spin. Have the life of your dreams, right? All I've wanted, I'm a worker, I will always work, but I hate the fact that I have to fucking do it. I hate the fact that if I don't turn up to work tomorrow, a bill's going to go unpaid. I hate it. I don't like that pressure. But under that pressure, I fucking work. Okay, that's why I do what I do. I'd love a big kumbaya story about how I love fucking brick and tile, and I just want to help people move. I love helping people move, and we've helped a lot of people in their lives, and I love that. But I don't know what it is, but I want to help even more people in the world, and I don't know how to do that. But I know I won't be able to do that until I'm working by choice, not necessity.
Yep. Okay.
Real estate's a bloody good vehicle for that.
Oh, well, boys, I think that on this, we've had a bloody good podcast of I don't like you, Chris, and I don't like you, Cameron.
And neither of us like you, Thomas.
And until, listen, let's have a look. Worst wine of the day?
Yours.
Mine's worst
No,
wine.
I wouldn't. I'd say mine. Cam's. I think
Yours?
Cam. I think Cam's.
Cam's
took it.
was better.
I think Cam's took it.
So this week, see, he lost. I told you, some week you win, some week you lost. So congratulations, Chris. You're lost for next week. And until then, see you guys.
Brother.
See you guys.
See you later.